In the last video, I tried beating Skyrim with only a longbow. Today, I decided to try to beat Skyrim with only an iron sword. Like the last video, I'm only going to be upgrading one skill that relates to the weapon I'm using. Once again, I'm playing on expert difficulty. Also, from this point forward, as a general rule for runs in the future, I'm going to allow myself to enchant melee weapons. The reason that I'm going to allow this for these runs is simply because it would take forever if I didn't. However, I will not allow this for ranged weapon runs or for special weapon runs where I feel the weapon is already powerful enough. With all that being said, today I intend to find out, can you beat Skyrim with only an iron sword? Let's get into it. Alright, to start the video off today, we're going to be choosing the Breton race. I'm not sure why we're choosing the Breton race, but when I pulled it up on Google, that's what it said is best for one-handed. So after editing my character and giving him a makeover, giving him a fitting name, and almost getting my head cut off, we officially start the run. I then break a dragon's ankles and make my way to the keep with Rayloff. Once inside the keep with Rayloff, I get seductively close to him so he can cut my bindings off. This time around, I don't have to sit there and watch him kill the enemies for me, as I can go get the iron sword in the other room and actually help him out. With that, we acquire our weapon for the remainder of this run, and I instantly put it to good use, killing the Imperials that are attacking Rayloff. So on my way out of Helgen, I fight some more Imperials, and then I head down to fight the spiders. You might be wondering why in every video I make it a point to show me killing the spiders. Well, number one is because I hate spiders, and number two, I hate spiders. After dealing with the local spider population, I decided to make a pit stop and kill the bear instead of just sneaking past it. I don't know why I did this, but I did. Regardless though, any XP in this game is good XP, and anything I can sell for potions later on down the line is worth grabbing. Anyways, once outside, I grab the warrior stone for its benefits towards one-handed, and then I deal with the bandit outside Embershard Mine. I then take advantage of Gerder's hospitality and steal all of her items. I then go to Lucan and sell them. I then head to Whiterun for a fast travel point. On my way back towards Bleak Falls Barrow, I encounter the Imperials with a Stormcloak soldier as a prisoner, and I help free him. So after freeing him and sending him on his way, I once again start my trek towards Bleak Falls Barrow. Again, on my way towards there, I make a stop to kill the bandits at their outpost for some goodies and for some XP towards my one-handed skill. Once outside Bleak Falls Barrow, I continue leaving bodies in the wake of my murderous rampage as I kill all the bandits outside and then make my way inside to continue the rampage. Defeating the two bandits guarding the entrance wasn't really that hard, considering one of them practices the no shoes, no shirt, no problems lifestyle, except for the fact that I become a very big problem, and the other one doesn't pull out a melee weapon until it's too late to save herself. Looking back over the footage, he did indeed have shoes on, so that joke is only half relevant, but I don't care, it's still funny. Next, I fight the bandit outlaw in the puzzle room. He stands a bit more chance than the first two, but let's be honest here, these are low-level enemies, as this is one of the first dungeons you do, and I'm still a pretty low-level myself. Well, then it's time for more spider genocide as I kill the spider guarding Arvel the Swift, as once I get done dealing with it, I'm gonna cut him down as well. And I don't mean set him free. I then make my way through a few more rooms killing Draugr until I reach the room with the Draugr Overlord. Once there, it's not really a hard fight as I can just abuse his awakening animation and get a bunch of free hits on him. Then once he's up, I just stun lock him to all hell. But even with the stun locking and the free hits at the start, it still takes a while to defeating as I'm pretty much using an oversized butter knife. This time I actually remembered that I was doing a challenge run, so I didn't bring any followers along throughout this whole dungeon or take any followers throughout this whole challenge, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, at least I didn't fail it right off the start like I did last time. Once outside Bleak Falls Barrow, I make my way to the kitty cat outside Whiterun and sell him all my stuff. Why did I do that? Anyways, then it's off to Jarl Balgriff to tell him that I got the dragon stone from Bleak Falls Barrow, I survived Helgen, yada yada yada, give me my money, and let me go fight my first dragon. Well, this is where I decided that I'm going to allow myself to enchant melee weapons in future runs. This dragon fight took an ungodly amount of time because, as you probably guessed, dragons like to fly, and when I could get it to land, I could only hit so many attacks on it before it either A, flew away, or B, I had to heal because it almost killed me because it does a lot of damage. Regardless, with me and the Whiterun guards attacking it, it still went down. I then I then took his soul and used it to unlock the shout, which I will never use because, well, This is a challenge run after all, and I still have no idea if the Unrelenting Force shout actually does damage to people or not. I then returned to Jarl Balgriff, who told me that I needed to go to Ivarstead to walk the steps and talk to the Greybeards at High Hrothgar. Well, normally I wouldn't have a problem with that, and I'd get started on that right away, except if you know me, there's one thing that I hate more than spiders, and that's the Peace Council. So I made my way to Windhelm to join up with the Stormcloaks. Once I arrived there, I'm then tasked with killing an ice wraith so that they'll let me into their group. Well, they'd probably be winning the war if they didn't send people off to die to a damn ice spirit. That being said, this took longer than the dragon fight, I'm pretty sure. I'm just gonna say that I died here a few times. And by a few, I mean somewhere in the double digits, and leave it there. If I actually delved into how many times I died and looked through the footage to tell you the exact number, I'd develop a drinking problem and then soon after insanity, so we're not going to do that. So to get around this entire encounter, I just abuse the AI of this game and walk around a rock several times hitting it, and then when it goes to attack, I just go back behind the rock, because for whatever reason he cannot figure out that I'm simply behind the rock. Anyways, moving on, I then go back to Windhelm to take the oath and officially join the Stormcloaks. After that, it's off to get the After that, it's off to get the dragon. After that, it's off to get the jagged crown for Ulfric. I have no clue why I had so much trouble with that word, but from now on, it's called the spiky crown. There's nothing really to say about this dungeon, as if you've done it once, you've done it twice, you've done it 1,000 times. It's a bunch of low-level Imperials or Stormcloaks outside, and a bunch of higher-level Draugr, but as you're going in as a group, it's not really that bad. Anyways, then it's back to Jarl Ulfric, who gives me an axe in exchange for the crown, which I then have to take that axe to Whiterun to tell him that we're going to war with him, and of course, instead of keeping the axe, he sends it back so we go to war. Same deal as the last dungeon, pretty easy. I'm not going to really cover any of the Civil War in too much detail because, let's be honest, that is more painful than sitting through the Peace Council. Alright, so pay attention because I'm just going to fast forward through the rest of this. After defeating Jarl Balgriff at Whiterun, I return to Jarl Ulfric, who then sends me on a bunch of Radiant quests at Stormcloak camps. Do different things at different forts, but basically it's the same exact thing at every fort, so I didn't put any of them. Skipping straight forward to when we invaded Solitude. Still a pretty easy fight. Jarl Ulfric uses shouts a lot, which benefits me pretty heavily. And at this point my sword was still unenchanted, but anyways, we make it in there and I kill General Tullius, and then it's off to finally make my way to Ivarstead. And then once again talk to Klimek, and if you thought that I was going to make that joke again, well, I'm not for now, but I can't say anything about the future. Anyways, I then deliver his supplies up to the Greybeards and enter, where they teach me about some shouts I'll never use, one that I will use, and then it's off to go get the horn of Mr. Windcaller himself. For that, I need to go enchant my swords. So, I enchanted 3 swords this run. One was Soul Trap, one was Absorb Health, and one was Fire Damage. I did this because I can use the Fire Damage and the Absorb Health dual wield, and then swap to the Soul Entrapment sword so I can fill up soul gems to use to refill my weapons. On my way to get the horn, I commit some more spider genocide in the dungeon. Well, I get in there to get the horn, and guess what? It's gone. I then go to Riverwood to meet up with Delphine to tell her to leave my Daedric artifacts alone, but as soon as I get there, I'm stopped by the guards, as apparently I have a bounty on my head. And looking back, I know what this is from. So, in one of the missions you get, you have to go find an Imperial courier and steal some orders from him, but instead I just murdered him. I then finally make my way into Riverwood to go talk to Delphine about fighting the second dragon. Well, you know the drill by now. After he's awakened by Alduin, I just abuse his awakening animation to get a good bit of hits on him before he can really do anything. Then once he lands for a final time, I get him low enough so he'll stay grounded, and for the most part he attacks Delphine over me for some reason, which lets me get a good bit of hits on him and eventually kill him. I then take his soul. How do I manage to mess up that same voice line twice in the same video? Anyways, I take his soul and then speak to Delphine, who tells me it's time to infiltrate the Thalmor. That's not really what she tells me first. She actually tells me she'll answer any question I want about why she's doing what she's doing. But the only question that I have for her, why does she talk so damn much? Anyways, I then give my stuff to Malborn to prepare to enter the Thalmor embassy. In other words, I get naked. Once outside, I talk to Delphine again, and then I hop on the carriage to get ready to go to the party. I then feed Rosalind's addiction so I can sneak away, but really when I say sneak away, I mean open a door so that every Thalmor in the entire building instantly knows where I'm at. Once inside, I get the information that Delphine needs from a book. I then save Melvern from the Thalmor and somehow he makes it past the Frost Troll. And then it's back to talk to Delphine again about a crazy old man in Riften. Once at Riften, I enter the Ratways and make my way towards Esbern. I quickly deal with the Thalmor that are outside guarding him and make my way to his room. Then after a quick chat, I bring him back to Delphine and Riverwood. The Forsworn don't really stand a chance as they're basically Skyrim's version of naked hobos that live in the forest, so my iron sword just cuts through them like butter. I once again hashtag give blood to get us entry into the face door so that they can waste my time talking about walls, shouts, dragons, and other stuff that I already know. I then go talk to Parthenax, who tells me I need to find an Elder Scroll, but while that's happening, I encounter this glitch. Anyways, I then make my way to the College of Winterhold so that he can tell me where the crazy old man is who knows where the Elder Scroll is, because I spent 20 minutes looking for him on my own and couldn't find him. He then gives me the location of the Elder Scroll and what I need to get it. I then do the puzzle to get the Elder Scroll. Originally, I had planned to have more footage of me going through the Black Reach, but majority of this was corrupted. I then read the Elder Scroll and hallucinate and prepare for the fight with Alduin. Well, if you can't see the speed that I've set this video at, this fight took a while. It wasn't really hard per se, but it was just a whole lot of hitting as my sword, even enchanted, still didn't do a lot of damage. This is another reason going forward I will continue to enchant melee weapons. I'm glad that's finally over. Moving on. I then have an up-close and personal chat with Parthenax. Literally. I then witness the first recorded flight in human history. I then capture a new pet dragon. Might need a bigger leash than my other pets for this one. Anyways, I then make the agreement to let him live as long as he brings me to the portal where I can kill Alduin. I then board my new Sky Doggy because who needs a horse when you've got a scaly jet? Instead of fighting anything, I just make a mad dash straight for the portal. And for any of you wondering why I hate the fight with Soon, here's the entire time that it took me to fight him in 10x speed. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the Alduin fight. There's not really much to say about this fight, as if you've been watching the video and you've paid attention so far, then you'll know it's just like every other fight I've had, and it took a long time. However, it wasn't really hard. I would just say it's more tedious, because we did have the Sovngarde heroes helping us defeat him. Everyone knows that the Soon fight is harder anyway. With that, I beat Alduin, and then talk to Soon so he can send me back to the land of the living. Once we return to the land of the living, I officially beat the challenge, and prove that yes, you can beat Skyrim with an iron sword. So this challenge was definitely harder than the last one. I expect to do many more melee runs for this game in the future, but regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed, If you could please like and subscribe, I would be grateful. If you guys have any suggestions for what you'd like to see for this game, or maybe potentially other games, leave them down below. Thank you guys for watching. Stay cool.